Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me for Singapore FinTech Festival coverage is Kate Simpson, President of the Irish Chamber of Commerce, Singapore, to discuss the rise of Ireland and Singapore as FinTech centers. Kate, it's great to meet you virtually. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you very much, Jill. Delighted to be with you this morning and this evening in the US, and very happy for the opportunity to speak to you today around the work of the Irish Chamber of Commerce here in Singapore. I'm very excited to be part of this as part of the broader FinTech Festival in Singapore this week.
All right, and we're glad to have you with us as well. Tell us about the Irish Chamber of Commerce Singapore and your plans for 2021.
The Irish Chamber of Commerce Singapore was founded in 1992, previously known as the Irish Business Association. We've been a growing Chamber of Commerce, and the way we're structured is that we have a number of members and sponsors that form part of the Chamber. The overall goal of the Chamber is to connect our sponsors with members, and also to help our sponsors grow their business, not only in Singapore, but into the broader APAC region. A number of those sponsors are in the FinTech field, so this is particularly relevant for them this week.
With the one-year anniversary of the EU-Singapore Free Trade Agreement, what are your thoughts about the year ahead?
It's an excellent point. We recently celebrated the one-year anniversary of the Singapore-EU Free Trade Agreement, which was a momentous moment in terms of how we approach business between the EU and Singapore. One of the advantages that we have with the Irish Chamber of Commerce is that we're part of a much broader network, and we're part of the European Chamber of Commerce, who have been incredibly involved with the advocacy of the European Chamber, with the EU and Singapore Free Trade Agreement, and really distilling it down to businesses both in the EU and in Singapore, and what that means in terms of tariffs, a facilitation of trade between the EU and Singapore. And being part of that broader network has been incredibly interesting, learning about how we can really make that relevant for businesses on both sides of the world. And in terms of the one-year anniversary, again, this is 1 year in, but we're very much looking forward to 2021 and what that really means for businesses. And we, as the Irish Chamber of Commerce, are here to help businesses expand their businesses, both in Singapore and into the APAC region. To give an example, a number of companies that would have flown over to potentially scope out Singapore as a location to do business or to expand into the APAC region may be unable to travel, or are currently unable to travel. So the role of chambers of commerce as a general entity, as a general support network, is becoming increasingly important going into 2021. We're the eyes and the ears of businesses on the ground. We have a very experienced board spanned across a number of fields that we can really help companies who are thinking about expanding. We can be their first set of eyes and ears into expanding businesses in Singapore.
You organized an event with the Prime Minister of Ireland, Michael Martin, on Friday. Tell us more about the event and the driver behind it.
It was a fantastic event. We were very fortunate to have our Prime Minister, or An Taoiseach in Gaelic, Micheál Martin, present to the Chamber members, but also the broader Irish community and Friends of Ireland in Singapore and in the APAC region. We had over 200 participants dialed in from over 16 countries. And the real goal behind the event was, with a number of people who are unable to travel home this Christmas, we really wanted to bring a piece of Ireland to those who are in their homes in the Asia Pacific region. We talked about business, we talked about trade between Singapore and Ireland. We have a lot of similarities. We're both island countries, island states. We are a smaller size population, so we really need to punch above our weights when it comes to how we do business and the way we do business. So we drew a lot of similarities between Singapore and Ireland. We're also two countries that have a much broader reach into the regions, Ireland into Europe and Singapore into the Asia Pacific region. So we drew on those commonalities and how we can ultimately help each other. So we really focus on trade. We focused on the plans in terms of management of COVID and the rollout of a vaccine, which is very much topic on everyone's mind at this point. Even down to how the Prime Minister was celebrating Christmas. He was really very candid in his plans. Really, we wanted to learn about the politician, but we wanted to learn about the person behind the title, and he was incredibly candid in his response. So that was the goal, and it really ultimately lifted the spirits of our members and those who dialed in, and we really wanted to shine a light on how we can connect in this virtual age. This is really a benefit of Zoom and being able to conduct events digitally, and it really opened our network up to not only Singapore but to the global network that we are part of.
Yep. And you know what? That's one of the silver linings to the pandemic and Zoom is that it broadens your investor base and knowledge base because it allows different types of countries and people to be a part of it where not everyone might have had access before. So I guess that's a silver lining to it. So to wrap up here, Singapore and Ireland are both known as fintech centers. Why is this?
We are very business focused as nations. We've had to look at our export business in terms of how we expand. And if we look at certain fintech companies that have done well in Singapore, expanding into the region, we have companies like Currency Fair, TransferMate, Dayon. One of the key aspects that we focus on is around the trade agencies that I know are both very strong in Singapore and in Ireland. So to give you an example, we have Enterprise Ireland. We very much work in tandem with Enterprise Ireland and the trade agencies and the Embassy of Ireland around how we approach. We have to be incredibly coordinated. We have to work very closely together. And I do see a lot of parallels between the way business is conducted in Singapore, the way business is conducted in Ireland. And as small countries, we really have to punch above our weight and be very organized and syndicated in terms of how we approach that. So it's really a pleasure to be in Singapore and also to be able to keep in touch with the companies that are considering moving their operations either out to Singapore or expanding their businesses into Singapore. And with the Singapore FinTech Festival this week, it's a fantastic time to discuss this topic with you.
All right, Kate, great to have you with us on Trade Talks. Thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.